Okay, I've been down for 45 years. My name is Fati.
What helped you endure? What got you through?
Well, I started off in SHU in '76, and at that time, the California Department of Corrections regarded black militants as threats, revolutionary prisoners, nationalists, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And so they kind of lumped a guy into that crowd and put him as a threat. Started off on the main line, but when I got locked up, I went from a one control unit into the SHU.
Oh, okay. So how did the SHU change from when you originally went in to 2000, 2010? What's the difference? What was the difference?
Well, when they initially, like if you went to the SHU, you get a SHU term. You can get, like, say, for example, a year. They might do 2 years. You probably do a year and a half. 3 years, you might do a couple of years. But in 1984, they shifted from that to these indeterminates. And once that happened, if you was in SHU and they had you down as some type of gang affiliation, you could do whatever term you had, and you could fill out that term and still be held on the classification that you were a threat to the institution, security, and other prisoners.
Okay, so as a result of the hostilities, you guys did the hunger strike. What was the most difficult part of the hunger strike for you personally?
Really just coming to the idea that if we did it, it was possible that it might bear fruit.
Right. And you guys really endured a lot. I mean, how many days did you go without actual food?
Probably myself, 12.
Oh, wow. That's a lot. So you just drink water, fluids? Or did they give you guys any type of supplements like Gatorade or anything like that?
Right. Yeah, they did come with some Gatorade after about a week or so.
Mm-hmm.
For a minute, I had a couple of Italian dressers. I put that in the water and drunk it,
Wow. That's pretty ingenious. So you and I have had personal conversations about some of the effects that the long-term SHU have had. I mean, how has it affected you personally, if at all?
Well, probably my sleep patterns, concentration to some extent, but really not being able to depend on anything long term,
For example, what do you mean by that?
Well, like we took up and was studying Swahili, and it was doing pretty good at it. In fact, we were doing so good that I think by now we would have probably had our own particular dialect for this country, right?
Uh-huh.
They classified it as gang related and took all of our work.
Right.
It came down to a matter of trying to retain all of that stuff in your head before it passed from the state of memory to the state of something you just knew.
Right.
And then they done the same thing insofar as books and writing, things of that nature there, you know. And it got down to the point to where, like, anything black was kept classified as, like, gang-related.
Right. What was I going to ask? Okay, so you get out of SHU. What was it like to get out of SHU? I mean, you guys went from being in this dungeon to just hearing essentially nothing, and then you're exposed to all these different sounds and different type of stimulations. How did that affect you?
It really didn't. Just being around people was probably the hardest thing to adjust to.
Right.
Because, you know, like a crowd in a shoot is one person shooting somebody else.
Right.
So, like, on the yard I'm on now, it's over 100 people on that yard. A good number of which I don't associate with and I don't know. So, you know, like your space thing comes into play.
Right. So now that you guys have endured the hunger strike, where do we go from here? I mean, because, you know, frequently you're locked in your cell just like when you were in the SHU. I mean, with the exception of, I mean, what's different? What's different? Because you're still locked up a lot. You don't have a job. I mean, what's different for you now?
Actually, I'm in my cell more now than I was when I was in the SHU. However, it is different because we out and being out, you know, like it creates possibilities that, you know, like we knew that exist when we was in the SHU.
Okay. So where do we go from here? What do you see? I mean, what about parole? What do you see? I mean,
personally, like I say, I believe that the next level of the struggle is the board of parole hearings, you know.
Right.
And I don't think as constituted, you know, like much is going to change insofar as it pertains to so-called gang members who they let out of shoot, you know, and so far as being certified and suitable and given dates. Another thing is like the agreement that got us out of shoot only runs for 5 years. This isn't the first time they have released individuals that they classified as threats to the main line. This is probably the first time they have done it in mass, but every time they've done it, they've come and collected those individuals back up. So as we come upon that 5-year period, that possibility looms as well.
Right, I've heard that they're locking people back up for just nothing. Just for, I can't think of the term I'm looking for, but so what can we do? What can we do as a community, as a people, to assist you guys to move forward?
And so far as the board goes, or in general?
In general or specific, whatever you feel compelled to share.
Okay, well, in general, and this is in general and specific. I'm not saying the concern that was shown during the hunger strikes created a situation that the pat answers that they had been given, allowed to give and get away with, right, were insufficient, and they were caught off balance, and so I think they regrouped and decided they was prepared to do something else.
Right.
So I would say that just the community, recognizing that they have folks that's here, and that they ought to be concerned about, their concern showing would help those individuals immensely.
Right. I've heard brothers say that that they felt forgotten, that, you know, and so, you know, society has, you know, collectively kind of turned a blind eye. And so what our objective is to, you know, raise the awareness. That's why we wanted to do these interviews, so people could hear your voices and make that connection to know that, you know, in spite of, you guys are still human, you guys are still men, and you guys still deserve to be treated as such.
And like, I think the greatest chance we have with this generation that's coming up now, and I'm saying my generation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of stuff that goes on within it that I can't even trace the origins of. However, I believe that we stand the best chance of being able to reach those individuals because we in the same environment that they are in. They know we've been here.
Right.
You know? So, and I believe that the state's position, and by that I mean the prison, is to disadvantage us in any way they can, to drive a wedge between us and them. But I think if the community at least show some concern insofar as the relationship that exists between prisoners, particularly black prisoners, it may bear fruit.
Right.
It will have some ramifications insofar as it pertains to what's going on the street. Plus, the agreement to end hostilities, as it takes hold, and it hasn't really so far, but at least the awareness phase of it is beginning to be known. But if it takes hold, it becomes a medium through which we can do communication.
Right. Very good. Let me ask you before our time runs out. Some brothers were single-celled and some had a cellie. What was your situation?
When I was in SHU?
Yes.
I had a cellie, Fuma.
Right. And
in fact, I had the same cellie for the whole time I was in SHU.
So do you think brothers that had cellies versus brothers that did not have cellies, do you think that their term was different?
I don't know. Yeah, you know, like I'm saying, in as much as you can get in somewhere by yourself and begin to think things that you work out for yourself without any challenge, you know, and then or, you know, like the friction that exists just living in such a small space, right?
Right.
So you don't have any of that. So like you can simply get in there and just be marinating on something that may or may not be worth anything.
Well, thank you, Fati. I've enjoyed you.
Hey, I love you and take care.
I love you too. Thank you.
Welcome.
All right, brother. Bye-bye.